For months and months, nearly everyone has expected Aquaman 2 to be another disaster at the box office for DC, especially considering they've already announced the DCEU is dead, and they've already had 7 straight financial failures at the box office. Well, interestingly enough, some Disney shills, some Marvel stans had decided to go out there and try to make some comparison. I don't see people talking about this as much as the Marvel's failure. It must just be because people hate women so much, which is just a joke because, one, people are destroying Aquaman 2 and have been for months now. And also, there's a big difference between the Marvels being the biggest bomb in the history of the MCU and the final nail in the coffin for a DCEU that's already been pronounced dead. But nevertheless, I thought it was a perfect opportunity because still, even now, you have clips coming out, you have articles coming out showing just how retarded everybody was involved in the Marvels. Now, it was pretty funny, right? When we saw the projections, we knew it wasn't going to be good, and then it couldn't even come close to those projections. Ended up being a massive failure at the box office, just as so many of us had predicted for years. People were not interested in this character. They certainly weren't interested in a team-up of 3 irrelevant characters. And then we saw Bob Iger actually take a shot at the Marvel's director. You know, the director that Disney and Marvel specifically hired, not because she was super qualified, but instead because of her gender and her skin color? Yeah, it seems like Bob Iger didn't think the unqualified director had enough supervision on set. When you go out and hire people just because of the skin color, just because of their gender, you end up sometimes with some activists. And it looks like that's exactly what we had. I want you to listen to this clip and then think of the idea of someone that loved this part of Endgame so much that they wanted to make a whole fucking movie about it. This is from Entertainment Weekly. This is tweeted out on Christmas Eve, right? They're still putting out promotional stuff for the Marvels somehow. The Marvel's director, Nia DaCosta, shares her excitement to direct a team-up movie.
I, like many women around the world, watched Avengers Endgame and had that 6 seconds of all the Marvel women together. And I once had like chills, but I also was very annoyed. I was like, 2 hours of this, please. So it was really nice that they decided to do a team-up movie with like 3 of my favorite heroes. So that's what was most exciting.
That's what was most exciting because, you know, I, like so many women around the world, when we saw the most cringe shot in the entire film, in the entire movie Endgame, this was the worst shot. This is the one that was mocked and ridiculed by so many people, even people that obviously a lot of problems with Endgame. People have acknowledged that over the past several years. But even though the heat of the moment, you've got the battle going on, even people that were loving it, when this came up, when you see all these women that just happen to coalesce around the same point in the battle, everybody fucking rolled their eyes. Everybody cringed. It was pathetic. And even internally, listen to what they said internally. Avengers Endgame producer admits studio worried that female hero scene was too pandering. Yes, spoiler alert, it was. It was. Even almost everybody in the fucking theater groaned at that moment because it was pathetic. It was pandering. It was ridiculous. And this is who you hired. You hired somebody who loved that scene. You hired somebody who loved that scene and wished they could have seen a 2-hour movie like that scene. Well, guess what? That's exactly what she made. The Marvels is a 2-hour movie. Well, I don't even know if they got up to 2 hours. They cut a lot out of that movie. But The Marvels is an entire movie that feels like this scene right here. Contrived, pandering, and ultimately disappointing to the audience. That's what this was. This was sad and pathetic. And now the fact that you have the director admitting that this is what they wanted to do after they saw Avengers Endgame, things start to make a lot of sense, don't they? And yeah, Bob Iger has now thrown the Marvel's director under the bus as well. Not enough supervision for the unqualified black female director that we hired. That's quite a statement, Bob Iger. But I mean, maybe if you want to pass the blame like that, I guess you can go ahead and try. But specifically, the reason I even decided to do this video is specifically because these shills are so upset. These people are trying to convince everyone that, well, they were too mean to the Marvels. Why didn't they have this same energy? Guess what? A lot of people do have the same energy about the Aquaman flop as the Marvels flop. The difference is you don't have all these fucking pussies, all these white knight fucking losers out there that are trying to blame the Marvels flop on anything other than it being a bad film, right? They're trying to blame it on toxic fans. They're saying the fans did this. Men are the reason this happened. Men showed up for the Marvels, 65% of the audience. The women that you pandered to very poorly, they're the ones that didn't show up. This is a pathetic failure on every single way. Aquaman 2 is as well. I made a lot of videos about Aquaman 2 failing, but if these guys are gonna continue to get this butthurt over people not liking this movie that they want to fucking salivate over, well, I'll continue to make videos about that too. Because quite frankly, they keep giving us ammunition. Nia DaCosta is the one that wanted to recreate this cringe scene from Avengers Endgame. And what do we get? We got The Marvels, the biggest flop in the history of the MCU. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.